a flash of light, a frozen smile, a moment captured forever. But long before selfies and smartphones, humans chased an impossible dream, trapping reality itself inside a box. Imagine living in a world where memories could not be saved, where faces faded with time, and history depended only on paintings and written words. For thousands of years, humans could describe the world, draw it, and sculpt it, but they could not capture it. The idea that light itself could create an image seemed like magic. And yet, that magic slowly became science, and that science became the camera. The story of photography doesn't begin with film, lenses, or digital sensors. It begins with darkness. More than 2,000 years ago, ancient philosophers noticed a strange phenomenon. When light passed through a tiny hole into a dark room, it projected an upside-down image of the outside world onto the opposite wall. Trees, buildings, and people appeared as moving shadows of reality. This effect was later called the Camera Obscura, which means dark chamber in Latin. For centuries, the Camera Obscura was simply a curiosity. Artists used it to trace landscapes and improve perspective in their paintings. Scientists studied it to understand light, but no one could find a way to save the image. The projection vanished as soon as the light disappeared. It was like watching a dream you could never hold on to. Then came the age of chemistry. In the 18th century, scientists discovered that certain silver compounds darkened when exposed to light. This was the first real clue that light could leave a permanent mark. But the images still faded quickly, and the process remained unstable. The real breakthrough came in the early 1800s with a French inventor named Nicéphore Niépce. Fascinated by the idea of fixing images permanently, he experimented with light-sensitive materials for years. In 1826, he succeeded in creating what is widely considered the first permanent photograph. It was taken from his window and required an exposure time of several hours. The image was blurry and faint, but it was revolutionary. For the first time in history, a moment in the real world had been captured and preserved by light itself. But Niépce didn't stop there. He partnered with another French artist and inventor named Louis Daguerre. After Niépce's death, Daguerre continued their work and developed a new process called the Daguerreotype in 1839. This method used a silver-coated copper plate treated with chemicals that reacted to light, producing highly detailed images. The Daguerreotype was a sensation. People were amazed that a machine could capture a person's exact appearance with stunning accuracy. Portrait studios opened across Europe and America, and for the first time, ordinary people could have their likeness preserved forever. Photography was no longer just science. It was becoming part of everyday life. But there was a problem. Daguerreotypes were unique images. There were no negatives, so copies couldn't be made. Each photograph was one of a kind. Around the same time, an English scientist named William Henry Fox Talbot developed a different process called the calotype. His method produced a paper negative, which allowed multiple prints to be made from a single image. This idea, the negative to positive process, became the foundation of photography for more than a century. As the 19th century progressed, photography evolved rapidly. Exposure times became shorter. Cameras became more portable. Photographers began documenting wars, cities, nature, and everyday life. For the first time, history could be recorded visually, not just described. Photography changed how humans saw themselves. It allowed families to preserve memories, scientists to study motion, and explorers to share distant lands with the world. The camera became a tool of truth, art, and evidence all at once. Then came a next great leap, film. In the late 1800s, George Eastman, an American inventor, revolutionized photography by introducing flexible roll film and simple cameras for the public. His company, Kodak, made photography accessible to everyone with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." Suddenly, photography was no longer limited to professionals. It became a part of daily life. Moments could now be captured quickly. Children playing, holidays, celebrations, and ordinary days that would later become precious memories. The camera had moved from laboratories and studios into people's hands. The 20th century brought even more innovation. Color photography emerged, allowing images to reflect the world as the human eye saw it. Cameras became smaller, faster, and more advanced. Photojournalism rose in importance, bringing images of world events directly to the public. Wars, revolutions, triumphs, and tragedies were now seen through photographs that carried emotional power words alone could never match. And then, in the late 20th century, came the digital revolution. Instead of film, digital cameras used electronic sensors to capture light and turn it into data. Images could be viewed instantly, stored without physical space, and shared across the world in seconds. Photography became faster and more connected than ever before. Today, billions of people carry cameras in their pockets through smartphones. What began as a scientific experiment now shapes social media, communication, journalism, art, and even how we remember our own lives. More photos are taken in a single day now than in the entire 19th century. So who invented the camera? The truth is, it wasn't just one person. It was a chain of discoveries across centuries. Ancient thinkers revealed how light behaves. Chemists uncovered light-sensitive materials. Niépce captured the first permanent image. Daguerre refined the process. Talbot introduced negatives. Eastman made photography accessible. And digital pioneers turned cameras into global communication tools. The camera is not just an invention. It is a collaboration across time. A story of curiosity, patience, and the human desire to preserve reality. But perhaps the most powerful thing about the camera is not the technology. It is what it allows us to do. It lets us stop time. A photograph can hold a smile from someone who is no longer here. It can show the face of a child who has grown old. It can remind us of places that have changed forever. The camera turned fleeting moments into lasting memories. And in doing so, it changed how humans experience life itself. From a dark room with a tiny hole in the wall to the powerful cameras in our hands today, the journey of photography is the story of light, science, and the human need to remember. The camera didn't just capture images, it captured history, emotion, and time itself. And every time we take a photo, we continue a journey that began centuries ago, when someone first wondered if light could leave a mark that never fades.